You're about to see some of the biggest waves ever caught on camera. I'm talking about waves that professional surfers barely escaped with their lives, waves that ruined a bride's wedding dress, and even waves that are 5,000 feet tall. Stick around to the end so you can get a glimpse of the biggest wave ever recorded in human history. In Hawaii, there's a beach called Jaws Beach, or Peahi as it's known in the Hawaiian language. Jaws is not to be mistaken for the Spielberg classic, although they do have one thing in common: size. In the case of Jaws Beach, it's the size of the massive waves that happen there regularly. Some of the waves have been measured to reach a height of almost 100 feet, enough to swallow any thrill-seeking surfer. But that doesn't stop them from trying to ride them, as Jaws Beach is a popular surfing destination, with surfers from far and wide attempting to break records on the frightening and unpredictable terrain. The funny thing is, the waves are so massive that surfers can't even paddle there. Yeah, you know the whole paddle thing that these sportsmen do on top of their boards to get on the waves. They really can't do that on Jaws Beach due to the strong currents that happen there. The water just keeps pushing them back. And if they keep pressing, they could drown. Instead, they have to move by jet ski, hanging onto the back of the vehicle with their boards underneath them. In 2003, Mike Parsons, a renowned surfer, attempted to surf a 64-foot wave on Jaws Beach. That's a wave that's almost twice the size of the Hollywood sign. A lot of people don't know that when a wave like that collapses on a human, the results may be very deadly. A collapsing wave is not some drizzle. The pressure of all that water is enough to break your ribs, burst your eardrums, and destroy your lungs. In other words, it could kill you. So don't think for a second that these surfers are in no danger when they go on these crazy adventures. But as you can see, Mike Parsons manages to glide through these insane waves and emerge gracefully. If you think that's cool, wait till you see the guy who broke the record for the biggest wave ever surfed. You don't want to miss that. Let's hop on over to California, where we'll find Mavericks Beach. It occasionally hosts massive surfing competitions with thousands of dollars as the cash prize, and nothing bad ever happens, right? Well, in 2010, a Mavericks surfing competition went horribly wrong. While the competition was going on and hundreds of spectators were busy looking at the amazing surfers, a massive wave came crashing on top of them. You already know what happens when a lot of water crashes on a person and how easy it is to break your bones and drown. It was reported that about 13 people were injured and over 40 people were swept up by the wave, forcing them to crash face first into the mud. Thankfully, nobody died, but the most serious injury was a man with a broken leg and a woman who got her ankles broken. One of the most insane waves that have ever been recorded on camera was in Teahupo'o, Tahiti, where Nathan Florence, a seasoned surfer, attempted to ride an insane wave. No one had even dared to attempt such a feat in Teahupo'o since the great Andy Irons. Nathan confessed that this was the biggest wave he'd ever ridden, and he was somewhat afraid he was gonna die. You can see how big the wave was and how it tunneled over Florence, yet he somehow managed to go through, gliding out with the grace of a ballet dancer and celebrating his incredible victory. The swell was captured by Tim Boynton, who admitted that he didn't know at the time that he was filming the most iconic moments in surfing history. Waves are not always a good thing. Like in Maverick Beach, some waves cause destruction, some waves are so big that they could no longer be called waves. They'll move on to the next level: tsunamis. In 2011, on the coast of Honshu, Japan, there was one of the worst natural disasters that ever happened in recent years. A mega tsunami was caused by an earthquake in the sea, an earthquake that has been proclaimed as the deadliest earthquake to ever happen in Japan, and the third deadliest earthquake in the past 100 years. The tsunami caused by the earthquake was responsible for the total destruction of more than 123,000 houses, and millions more suffered damages. They say the cost of damages was estimated to be around $220 billion, and this makes it the most expensive natural disaster in all of human history. If you think Japan was the only place that was affected, think again, as countries all over the world felt the effect of the wave, including Peru, Chile, American states like Hawaii and California, and even other places in the Pacific Rim. The tsunami even affected places like Antarctica. It's sad to say that many lives were lost, especially in Japan. It was truly a global tragedy, but in the end, the disaster helped bolster Japan's preparedness for such issues, and now the country is well prepared against tsunamis. Waves are only considered bad depending on when and where the waves hit, but perhaps one of the worst times and places for a large wave to hit you is when you're posing for a photo on your wedding day. This happened to a newlywed couple on Laguna Beach, and was captured on camera by an onlooker. The unidentified couple was too busy adjusting their clothes and basking in their love to notice the oncoming wave. The wave came out of nowhere and washed them into the sea. Lifeguards and other rescue personnel were quickly alerted, and the couple managed to get clear of the water thanks to the intervention of the fire department, who used a rescue tube and pulled them to safety. The bride and groom were incredibly traumatized after this experience, as any normal human would be. Thankfully though, in the end, the couple was saved. Although the same cannot be said for the bride's dress or the groom's suit, one could say that they started their life together in a splash. Nazaré, Portugal is one of those places that's renowned for having one of the biggest waves in the world. It's a surfer's haven, where daredevils go to seek the thrill of taming monstrous waves. As of 2020, a surfer by the name of Sebastian Stutner made the world record for surfing the biggest wave in history, a wave of 26.21 meters, or around 86 feet tall. That's bigger than a cricket pitch and 2 times the size of the Hollywood sign, and that's what Sebastian decided to surf. The scary part is the giant wave was caused by a storm in the sea, and that's why it grew to this extent. Getting lost in this kind of wave wouldn't just be life-endangering, but thanks to the size and cause of the wave, there's a good chance that your body isn't going to be found if things go wrong. Sebastian, who is a German by birth and not a Nazaré native, knew all the risk involved, and he did it anyway, and thanks to his skill and unwavering wit, emerged as the world record holder for surfing the highest wave ever. Funny enough, this didn't come as a shock to the Nazaré government. Surfing records have been broken about 5 times since 2011, when Garrett McNamara started it all, so a similar feat didn't really cause a huge fuss. It was still an impressive achievement for Sebastian and Nazaré, and everyone is confident that more record-breaking waves are going to be recorded in the coming years. You've seen a lot of big waves today, some pleasant to see and some of them devastating, but each of the earlier mentioned waves has been naturally occurring, and none have been caused due to any artificial influence. Until now. This was a wave that was caused due to a military experiment after World War II, when the US Navy began the testing of nuclear power in Bikini Atoll in the Pacific. They chose Bikini because it was remote yet still accessible. It is said that after the war was concluded, the military found the one spot in the world that wasn't affected by the war and blew it to hell. They launched a bomb called Helen of Bikini, which was a 21 kiloton nuclear bomb, about 27 meters below sea level, and so by doing, they created what would be the most gigantic set of waves ever seen by man. The bombs displaced 2 million gallons of water, and that amount shot up 5,000 feet in the air, creating a mushroom shape that was made of water. It was so bad that all the underwater coral within the area went flying. They say it's as if Captain Marvel punched a hole in the bottom of the sea. Believe it or not, other than the show of military might that the experiment was meant to be, it was also a way for the US military to understand the environmental impacts of the bomb. The testing process was so vigorous, and the waves were so high that the cameramen filming it had to go to a nearby island for safety. But what about the biggest naturally occurring wave ever recorded in history? Well, that award goes to the wave that occurred at Lituya Bay, Alaska in 1958. This wave was about 1,700 feet tall. To put that in context, the Empire State Building is about 1,250 feet tall, so this wave went bigger than one of the tallest buildings in America. Like most giant waves, this wave occurred due to a natural disaster, or in this case, an earthquake, and it decimated a large portion of the bay and went all the way to the Gulf of Alaska. They say millions of trees got destroyed that day. Not thousands, not hundreds of thousands, but millions. They say that some people living in Yakutat, a small town on the island of Kantak, lost their lives because part of the island fell into the sea. Nature has a funny way of showing its might. From the giant waves in Nazaré and Jaws Beach that these amazing surfers had to tame, to the giant tsunamis in Alaska and Japan that were considered tragedies. We know that while waves can be iconic and beautiful, they can be equally deadly and destructive. See you in the next video.